Hello, boxing fans around the world. Thank you for joining me once again here on Talkin' Fight for another episode of Boxing News today. And let's start off with the smashing news that comes out of MVP. We've got Katie Taylor once again facing Amanda Serrano. A rematch will take place on July 20th on the undercard of the big fight between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. 2-weight undisputed champ Katie Taylor will face Serrano at the AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, as the co-main event. As I said, underneath Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. The card's been promoted by Jake Paul's Most Valuable Promotions, MVP, and is going to air live on Netflix globally with no added paywall. It's the first live combat sports event distributed by the streaming service and has a chance to be one of the most watched fight cards of the modern era. As we all know, Taylor is promoted by Eddie Hearn's Matchroom and Serrano is promoted by MVP. So Taylor said, "This is a rematch the world has wanted to see, and I'm delighted it's finally happening. The first fight in New York was obviously an epic occasion. That's an understatement. And it more than lived up to its billing, and I'm sure the rematch will be no different." Taylor versus Serrano will be for the undisputed super lightweight championship currently held by Taylor. Serrano will move up 3 weight classes from the featherweight division, where she holds several world titles, and the bout will be contested over 10 2-minute rounds. ESPN, by the way, has Taylor ranked number 2, Serrano number 3 on its women boxing pound-for-pound list. Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano are two of the best boxers in the world, Tyson said. I know they can both put on an incredible show, and I'm thrilled to have them join this card. These remarkable athletes will undoubtedly elevate the event with their global appeal and fan bases. Adding one of the greatest fights in women's boxing history to this unforgettable event is a true gift to fans. Fantastic stuff. Great news for the boxing world. Elsewhere around the world, there's this 5v5 matchup that the Saudis are promoting quite well between Bob Arum and Eddie Hearn has also made headlines today because Deontay Wilder is going to re-enter the ring and fight Zhilei on the Artur Beterbiev versus Dmity Bivol card. As we both know, Deontay Wilder and Zhilei suffered upset defeats to Joseph Parker in recent months. And both of them, though, however, will clash together in a heavyweight contest as part of this 5v5 tournament that's taking place. And, of course, you're obviously wondering who else. So, as I said, headlining it, you got a Beterbiev versus Bivol for the undisputed light heavyweight title. You got Wilder versus Zhang. That's, the Matchroom versus Queensbury. Then you got Daniel Dubois, another young heavyweight, versus Filip Hrgovic. So Daniel Dubois signed to Queensbury. Filip Hrgovic is with Matchroom. Then you've got fighting for the WBA featherweight title, Raymond Ford, Matchroom, versus Nick Ball, Queensbury. And then you've got Craig Richards, who's a Matchroom fighter, versus Willy Hutchinson, Queensbury fighter. And finally, rounding out the card, Austin Ammo Williams on Matchroom versus Hamzah Sheeraz versus Austin Emma Williams on Matchroom versus Hamzah Sheeraz. He's on Queensbury. There you go. Those are the 5v5 matchups underneath the Beterbiev and Bivol card. Fantastic stuff. It's going to take place on Saturday, June 1st in Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia. And we will expect the ring walks for the main event around 10:30 UK time, roughly speaking. 5:30 here in the East Coast of North America. So it's a pretty whopping card. But if I'm not mistaken, there's no women on it. What's up with that? Anyway, this Wilder-Zhang, it's a really good fight, and obviously a must-win for both guys. If they intend to remain fighting, and Deontay Wilder has said as much. He's especially, he said to the media, ashamed of his showing against common opponent Joseph Parker, according to Malik Scott, who shared the shame with his fighter. So anyway, he said, this is Malik Scott, he said Wilder used the shame to motivate himself, adding how Wilder must put on performances very artistic and violent. If he shows up as a Wilder of old, as the man who dropped every single man he faced, Zhang will be knocked cold, Scott said. Wilder is who he is. He's a very violent man, Scott said, not just in the ring. If he's not in the ring, he's shooting guns. If he's not shooting guns, he's handling business very aggressively. That's just who he is. But I know tons of killers also who had a bad night in the office concerning boxing. But it's controlled chaos, whichever way you want to look at it. You're going to use your mind if you really want to be surgical and knock somebody out cold. Now, as part of this whole story, Eddie Hearn actually had to approach Turki Al-Sheikh to sign one fighter to name as his captain. So he had to ask for permission, if you will. So the promoter, Eddie Hearn, was given the green light by His Excellency to sign one fighter, and he chose the former WBC heavyweight champ, Deontay Wilder. We all know Deontay Wilder's coming off a loss, but nonetheless, his record is pretty impressive, 43-3-1, 32 knockouts. And he said he will be in the, Hearn said he'll be in the captain's seat for the matchroom boxing squad in a fight against Zhilei, 12-round fight. And Hearn is confident that Wilder will regain his old form and emerge victorious by knocking out Zhang. 26-2-1, by the way, 21 knockouts of his own. Said Eddie. I said, can I go and sign someone? And His Excellency said, yes, you can go and work with anyone you want for one night. And that's how that deal came about between Eddie Hearn and Deontay Wilder. It's going to be interesting to see. I kind of think Wilder won't win. I'm not sure he'll get knocked out by Zhang, but he's I'm going to say it, he's fragile. And I really think this will probably be his last fight. He's got a lot on the go, as we mentioned, business-wise, other things to speak of. But Hearn has confidence in him. He said, let's give Deontay a little work. The best time, I've got to pump him up. I got to believe in him. I've got to tell you how great he is and get some fire in his belly. Well, if Hearn can boost Wilder's morale and make him understand that he's the captain, he'd be more than willing to take ultimate risk and blitz Zhang as he would on the battlefield. So can he really revive the Bronze Bomber? We'll wait and see for sure. You're the captain, he said. You're the boss of the ship. Let's go and represent the team and smash this block to pieces. And he will stop Zhilei Zhang inside 5 rounds, he added. That's one of the reasons why I gave him the captain seat. I spoke to him. I looked him in the eyes, and he's for real. He wants to do damage on June 1st, and he's fighting for his career, said Hearn. All righty. As I said elsewhere on that fight, you've got Filip Hrgovic and Daniel Dubois. So Eddie didn't stop with Deontay Wilder. He went on to promote Hrgovic versus Dubois. As important for the aging heavy division is at the top, he said. The 26-year-old Dubois, 31-year-old Hrgovic. Dubois sporting a 20-2 record, Hrgovic 17-0 record. They're both young enough to take over the division after the old guard retires. Both of these young guys are young enough to be among the top fighters after the current champions leave the sport in 2 or 3 years, which we've been saying for a while now is a long time coming. It's clogged at the top, and it needs to be sorted out. And I think with a few more L's here and there, you're going to see it clearing up pretty quickly, especially when Jared Anderson crosses the ocean and cleans out the top end. Anyway, let's continue with Dubois. Dubois is a little younger than Hrgovic, but he still has a lot of work to do before he's ready to take the throne after the current champions retire. The vacant IBF title could be at stake for the Hrgovic and Dubois tilt on June 1st, which would make their fight even bigger. As we all know, Anthony Joshua will be waiting to potentially fight the winner, and that would mean a lot of money. Said Eddie Hearn, listen, Dubois is a good fighter. If you look at the heavyweight division, a lot of those guys in their mid-30s, and some are in their late 30s, some are in their 40s. You're talking about a heavyweight clash between Hrgovic and Dubois. Talking about two young guys here. The 35-year-old heavyweight champ Tyson Fury is showing his age and then some. And he came close to losing his last fight against Francis Ngannou, as we all know. And his fight is coming up a few weeks prior to the big June 1st clash between Beterbiev and Bivol. Anyway, if Tyson Fury loses both of his fights against IBF, WBA, WBO champ Oleksandr Usyk, he could be out of the sport soon. However, if the Saudis stay loyal to Fury, he might be able to hang around a little longer, even if he's losing regularly. That would create opportunities for Dubois and Hrgovic to take his place. Usyk's 37, but he's still fighting at a high level. Ideally, he might have 3 more years left before he's out of the game. Fair enough. So just to conclude here, Dubois is 26 at Hearn. He's been in deep, and I think he's the best yet to come. Unfortunately for him, he'll be fighting a very good heavyweight in Filip Hrgovic. It's going to be a great fight, brilliant fight, and obviously we know that the fight could be for the IBF world title. We'll see, said Hearn. Elsewhere around the world, in women's news, we see that Shannon Ryan is going to go up against Emma Dolan. That fight's back on. First ever Superfly title, and Dolan's going to defend her Commonwealth Superfly title on June 22nd in Birmingham, UK. I believe that's on the Denny versus Cash undercard. So good stuff. And hopefully it'll be given the status and position, as Andy Grayley says, it deserves, quite frankly, co-main and chief support status. We all know Andy as part of our good friends across the pond who often have a lot to say on their own boxing channel. Anyway, let me go further across the pond over to Tokyo as another report has come in from Joe Kazumi. Unbeaten southpaw prospect, WBA number 14, Yuga Ozaki, 6-1. Looks so impressive as he lopsidedly battered Thailand's Kitadek Harinsuk from all angles and finally halted him with the referee's intervention at 2 minutes 51 seconds of the 7th round in a scheduled 10-rounder in a fight that took place in Osaka, Japan. Yuga scored his first defense of his WBC youth belt and then saw vastly talented speedster Ozaki previously make a quick demolition of WBA-rated light fly Sisthak Semri in round number 2 to enter the WBA World Rankings last September. Ozaki, formerly an amateur, he's an amateur star, formerly an amateur star at 21, may zoom up as his career progresses since he's highly gifted with excellent reflexes and high hand speed, said Kozumi. Let's quickly move along here. Don't want to keep you bored. Oh, good old Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. What would be a show on Talkin' Fight without mentioning these two fighters? You know, Haney, he's 31-0. Garcia is 24-1. Haney beat George Kambosos Jr. to become the undisputed light heavyweight champ. And he's fought the Aussie twice in his backyard, determined to fight the best. Haney then outpointed Vasily Lomachenko before moving up in weight to dethrone the WBC 140-pound champ Regis Prograis. Garcia, on his part, was stopped by Gervonta Davis in a high-profile clash last April. Tank scored a knockdown in round number 2 and halted his opponent with a body shot in the 7th. However, Garcia rebounded with TKO win over Oscar Duarte in December and now looks to elevate his position in boxing. And this would be his first world title fight, by the way. And he's got over 10 million Instagram followers, and he uses that, his celebrity status, that is, to promote fights, which he believes makes him the A side in his matchup against Devin Haney. Devin Haney, he said, is not the draw, and I definitely have been carrying this promotion on my back by myself, he said. Nobody wants to watch a guy that supposedly can't crack an egg. We're not going to underestimate him. He may have power when I step in there. I don't know. Anyway, Garcia's showdown with Davis was extremely lucrative for both fighters. The young Californian now seeks to break record against Haney while adding to his wallet. So let's take a look at for previous fight purses and the monies that's being thrown around. Bill Haney recently said that there's a 55-45 split in favor of Garcia against his son. The precise numbers aren't known for this upcoming fight. However, we do have people who do track these numbers. Haney made approximately $3 million for his fight against Jorge Linares and about $2 million against Yuriorkis Gamboa. And that's according to Essentially Sports. Haney also took home $2.8 million for his fight against George Kambosos, per the Sports Grail. And for the rematch, according to Sports Zion, Haney earned roughly $9 million. ESPN reported that Haney made a guaranteed purse of $4 million against Lomachenko. And in a social media exchange with UFC Sean O'Malley, Haney hinted at making about $6 million for Regis Progress. Accordingly, California State Athletic Commission has said Garcia earned a minimum $2 million against Javier Fortuna, and against Emmanuel Tagawa, Garcia took home approximately $1 million plus 70% from the pay-per-view sales, which boosted his purse to approximately $3 million. Per Ryan Garcia's own Twitter account and Sports Illustrated, he took home $30 million out of the $100 million revenue that was generated in the Gervonta Davis fight. And against Oscar Duarte, Marca reported that Garcia made about $5 million. So what are the net worths, respectively? Devin Haney's net worth, roughly speaking, $6 million. Ryan Garcia's net worth, roughly speaking, $20 million. Both millionaires and both about to club it out in the ring in a few days' time. So that rounds us out for today's show. Thanks very much for joining me. Appreciate it very much. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and see if there's anything else showing up. Nothing popping up. So we'll see you again here on Talk and Fight. Thanks very much for joining me. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell.